Paul, there are some fantastic cars here at Mad Automotives, but why exactly have you brought us here?
Peter's invited us along, Peter Angelides, who owns Mad Automotives, to drive some nice cars, and there's a pretty good mixture of nice cars.
Unfortunately, I can't drive that Maserati Murax. It sort of hasn't got any wheels on it. But what was that, 70s?
Early 80s, actually. That's an SS, so it's very rare.
Ooh.
Looks beautiful. Going to be fully restored as well. Talking of restoration, look at this. DBS 6, Rome purple.
Rome? What, as in?
R-O-A-M purple, not as in the place. One of 14 will leave the factory in this colour. Looks flipping nice. But there's modern stuff as well, because they buy, sell and restore classic cars, modern cars, all sorts of cars as well. So they've got a bit of a mixture of everything.
And this, look at that. Nissan, I call them Nissans now, because they were Datsun 240s, but that's a special. Look at those wheel arches. It's all been fabricated and welded into the body and looks absolutely stunning.
Tiff, this is probably one of the best 240Zs in the world, if not the best one in the world. In the world. Look at it.
A Porsche 911, you can't, that looks like a sort of RSR.
RS Carrera. Very nice, but another 240Z.
Yeah, really, and the racing colours, the famous samurai racing colours, what do they call them? Big Sam or something, isn't
Well,
they?
this isn't the Big Sam, but yeah, Big Sam was the bigger engine version of this.
Right, anyway, let's get to the point. Which one am I driving?
You've been pleased to hear, today you're driving a classic car.
Yes.
1973, yes. Range Rover Suffix B, the original Chelsea tractor.
This one?
Yeah.
I mean, Paul, it looks immaculate. I mean, it's a beautiful example, but it's just not me, really. I mean, you could drive this, Paul. You
I would love to drive it. It does. You're right. It looks immaculate. But you know what I was thinking? Because we're old and we're used to driving cars like this from our era, why do we let the young gun?
Matt, love a Range Rover for you. It was built before you were born.
And it didn't take long for this young gun to get into his flow.
This Range Rover, which is currently for sale at Mad Automotives, was first registered on the 1st of August 1973 and has undergone a full nut and bolt restoration over the course of 5 years. It's even got a brand new turnkey 3.5 litre V8, which has been built to original specification by RPI Engineering, a noted Rover V8 specialist. This really is a collector's item in stunning condition, and it's only done 25,000 miles. At the time, the Range Rover was revolutionary. The world's A-listers and celebrities alike, royalty even, embraced this car. It looks just as comfortable in a national park than it did on Park Lane. And the year after it was launched, it was the first car ever to be featured at the Louvre in Paris. It says a lot about the design of this car. The luxury SUV market is booming, with cars like the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, Bentley Bentayga, Aston Martin DBX, Lamborghini Urus, and even Ferrari are going to be in the mix very, very soon. This segment is big business these days, but every single one of these cars owes their existence to one car, the original Range Rover. Let me explain. The original Land Rover arrived in 1948, based on the American Willys Jeep. Now that car was so successful in its efforts in the war, it became such a favourite for its simplistic design and go-anywhere capabilities. It was a firm favourite with farmers and the military. But driving on the road was never the Land Rover's strong point, and Rover wanted to make a version with much better road handling and road etiquette to appeal to a much more mass market. After failed iterations in 1970, the first Range Rover was born. The iconic shapes and lines hold up even today. There's so much on this car that you can see in the modern Range Rover, and there's little touches everywhere of its utilitarian route. So for example, down the front here in the front bumper, we've got a little hole. That's for a hand crank, just in case you need to start your Rover V8 by hand. For the first 11 years of its life, the Range Rover was only available with 2 doors, as we see here. And Rover even went to the lengths of fitting 2 handles inside, one for front passengers and one for rear passengers. Round the rear, we have the iconic split folding tailgate. Now this is something that you can see in modern Range Rovers, which isn't the easiest thing to open. There's no power assisted, but the fact that this feature is still going today is just testament to how forward thinking the designers of this Range Rover were. And if I just lift this back up for you, another cool feature is when the tailgate is down and you've got a really big heavy load in the back, the number plate swings out, so you're not going to get in trouble with the law. When the Range Rover was being developed, its designers were tasked with improving 3 key areas: comfort, performance and versatility. Now where I'm sure this car is versatile, it leaves a lot to be desired in the performance and comfort departments. But that's to be expected of a 50-year-old car. The bright airy cabin is brilliant, helped by these really small thin A-pillars. The high riding driving position gives a fabulous view out, which is great for when you're surveying your estate. One major downside of the high riding driving position is the centre of gravity being so high, and these early cars weren't fitted with anti-roll bars. Modern cars do a great job of disguising their mass. However, in this car, you're extremely aware of the physics going on, which can make for some very interesting cornering. It's not the most of refined drives. The noise in the cabin is very loud thanks to the lack of sound deadening. It's rather agricultural by today's standards. However, over the 25 years this car was in production, each new iteration added more luxury and, importantly, more refinement. Up front, we've got the 3.5 litre V8 pulling us along. Because the engine's very old, you only get 130 horsepower and 250 newton meters of torque, which by today's standards isn't a lot, and let's put that into perspective. You get more now in a Nissan Qashqai, but that's 50 years of SUV advancement. After a series of tweaks and more luxurious additions over the years, in 1996 the original Range Rover went out of production sadly, but so big was its influence on the automotive world, its effects are still felt to this day. It brought SUVs out of the farmyard and brought them into our cities. It is a true icon. But anyway, it's time to get back to MAD now. If you want any more details on them, links in the description. It's so cold.